learning was so structured.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it still is in some sort of way. It still is. So how do you make it different for the children that you teach?
Yeah. So mostly is so there's something we call differentiated learning, yeah?
Okay.
So if the syllabus is, today we are learning 1, 2, 3, up to 10, not every child will be able to get to 10. So what do you do with this information? If you have a learner who is unable to do 1, 2, 3, up to 10, you will teach them in a way that they want to learn. So if they're able to learn 1 and 2, and that's the best they can give, you allow them to learn 1 and 2. You can deal with the 5, 6, 7, up to 10 later. Whatever it is they can do. You will also find another child who can do 1 to 10 and they can even do more. So this one, you will stretch them beyond what they already know. So it's structured, but then there's a way you can make it differentiated for each and every learner so that everyone feels comfortable in whatever they are doing. They don't feel like I'm not good enough because I can't do 1 to 10 like Gabe or yeah.
You talked about the kids having a voice,
Yes.
and that's incredibly important. And talking to their parents is incredibly important.
Mm-hmm.
But the part that I will also include is the parents have to be ready to listen.
Yes.
Because oftentimes kids will talk to parents who it's a deaf ear. I'm listening to what you're saying, but it's not actually, going into my head. I'm not processing it.
Yeah.
So I think that some of the things you talked about earlier, the awareness of children as real people with real opinions and real, needs
Yes.
goes beyond the relationship between mom or dad and their role as the child.
Yes.
The part of this that we get disconnected from is when we look at just the grade and we don't spend time in the context of the student, whether it's in the class or speaking to the teachers, and not just at parent-teacher conferences, because that's all, made up stuff. Oh, your kid's doing great. We love him. If I hear that again, I'm gonna freak out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. If you're a repeat listener to the Akili pod, we are happy to be here and happy to be having these conversations. My name is Lorraine Mzugula, Head of People and Culture at Akili Network, Akili TV.
And my name is Jesse Soleil, and I'm the co-founder and president of Akili Network, Akili TV. And appreciate you being here.
If I've not said it yet, now that you're introducing yourself, I'm grateful that you asked me to be your co-host.
Oh, are you kidding me? I'm grateful you are part of this. I think you're going to be a wonderful continued co-host here. And we have a couple of people that we'd like to introduce, or they're going to introduce themselves. But full disclosure, Gabe has been working with Akili TV for a little over 5 years now. So that's why we know him so well. So turn it over to you guys. And actually, let's start with you.
Okay, the newbie. All right. So hi, everybody. My name is Mercy, or Miss Mercy. So I am an educator. I teach kids. And now educators are cool now. So we say I teach future leaders. Yeah, basically that. And I'm also an author. I've written 2 books for kids as well. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Amazing. Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gabriel Mugeni. As mentioned by my colleagues over here, I do work at Akili TV. I'm currently a multimedia designer. It's good to be here.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
I think I can start us off.
Absolutely.
And I will start us off because of what you said, as you teach future leaders, right? Such a cool name. It's the way HRs we switched from HR to head of people and culture. The way you did a rebrand.
Yes.
And so what led you to that decision?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think this decision was influenced by how I grew up, because I felt like mostly it was very structured, and it was not about what is she all about, what does she know she can do, and then we can nurture that. So it was mostly about you have to do 1, 2, 3, and that's the structure, and that's how you have to do it. Everyone has been doing it. So why are you not doing it? So I think as I was growing, I was questioning all these things because I found out I've always wanted to be a teacher, but you'd find that maybe some teachers are not aligned to that, or they feel like, no, you should be a doctor or you should be this, because everyone who studies has a certain path they follow, yeah? So as I started questioning this, I started realizing if only we would allow kids to be themselves and then nurture it from that point. And now that trickles down to now what I do right now, because it comes from a point of this is a child who I have received, and what are they passionate about? Do they want to become a teacher? Do they want to become an engineer? What can they do? So whatever it is that they can do is what now we tap. So ideally, everyone is a leader in their own way. Whatever you do in your own little way, you don't have to be the president, you don't have to be a teacher per se, but you are a leader in your own way. So that is what influenced that. And I love it because in this new generation, kids are very woke and aware.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that you see, that's what you tap into.
That's so interesting. You mentioned about learning was so structured.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it still is in some sort of way. It still is. So how do you make it different for the children that you teach?
Yeah. So mostly is having, so there's something we call differentiated learning, yeah?
Okay.
So if the syllabus is, today we are learning 1, 2, 3, up to 10, not every child will be able to get to 10. So what do you do with this information? If you have a learner who is unable to do 1, 2, 3, up to 10, you will teach them in a way that they want to learn. So if they're able to learn 1 and 2, and that's the best they can give, you allow them to learn 1 and 2. You can deal with the 5, 6, 7, up to 10 later. Whatever it is they can do. You will also find another child who can do 1 to 10, and they can even do more. So this one, you will stretch them beyond what they already know. So it's structured, but then there's a way you can make it differentiated for each and every learner so that everyone feels comfortable in whatever they are doing. They don't feel like I'm not good enough because I can't do 1 to 10 like Gab or
Gabe.
Gabe.
Sorry,
I
that's
butchered your name. Yes.
It's allowed.
Yeah, that still works.
But was that your experience growing up, or?
Yeah, I would say what she said is exactly what I went through, and I would say most of my age mates went through the same thing, because it's back then, education was seen as long as you have a degree, you had a job. That was the market.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of push to you as the child or the student graduating. Not even what skills you are picking up, what course are you actually doing. Like, just get that degree. Once you have that degree, then you'll start figuring things out. So for the most part, it was very results driven. And by results, it was exam results. So if your results weren't good, you weren't working hard, you weren't paying attention, you weren't learning. Like, there was no other way to gauge whether you're actually getting anything in school. You had to get an A or 400 or 450. Otherwise, the notion is you're not paying attention, you're not doing anything in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I despite being on the, I was a top student, let me just say that. So even as a top student, there were some situations where you're just like, okay, now it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And the culmination of that, I would say, was in high school. I literally used to go home with a report form, and I would print the result sheet for the entire form. So if it's form 4, I'd literally print it so that my dad can be like, this is where I am, this is my results, and this is where I am on the mark list. I'm paying attention in school. There are 300 people behind me. So just because I came home with a B+, doesn't mean I'm failing, because I was a B+. It's a B+, and I was 5th in class, 10th overall. Like, where am I getting all this flack?
Which led you to your long career.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was part of baby steps for me to where I am
Now.
currently.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a gift and a curse in a
So
sense.
when you hear Marcy talk about the way she's training future leaders, I believe you.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
It's there's something she's mentioned that I was like, that's what everyone should be doing.
Yeah.
When she's mentioned the levels, because in school I would think it's still going on now, but I'm not sure. I haven't been in a school for
A couple of years.
a couple of years, yeah. But there's this thing where the teachers would set pass marks.
Yeah.
Pass marks. And they'll be like, so maths, it's out of 100. The pass mark is 70. So the entire class, let's say you have 50 students, all of you need to get 70 and above in maths. I don't think that's possible because every child has a different learning capacity. There's that kid who'll figure this out in one term, and there's that kid who'll figure it all in 1 year. There's the kid who'll do it in 1 week, but expecting all of them to perform at a certain threshold, and that threshold is closer to 100 than 0, it's disadvantageous to those kids who don't take things up quickly. And they end up being on the, what do you call it? When teachers come with like punishments and stuff for that, well,
they're punished for
they're
that.
punished for their inability to be as smart as someone else, which I find to be kind of weird,
very
questionable,
sad,
yeah, because
yeah.
all of us in this room don't have the same IQs.
Yeah.
So how can we assume 50 children have the same IQs?
And we don't learn at the same rate.
Yeah, and
in the same way.
Or even in the
yeah,
same way,
and
exactly.
from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So I always found it, I didn't find it then because I was a kid, I wasn't questioning anything. But as an adult, I'm like, yeah, there's something there. So what she's mentioned was really, it put a warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart knowing there are teachers out
That's
here
just who care.
Oh.
who actually care, because
Very
that way
sweet.
everyone
Yeah.
learns, everyone moves forward. You're not hindered by your ability or inability to do something.
So you both described something, though. You said differentiated learning, which is the clinical term for it, if you will. You just talked about how everybody learns differently, and not all the kids have the same capacity in math, which was actually my worst subject in school.
Oh.
I did great in other things, but math, awful. It was the worst. I hated it.
Yeah.
I loved physics, though. So I think, the context oftentimes is a big part of it, and also the teachers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
I do know my youngest, who's 16, last year his top grade was in English, where he had a great teacher. And this year his teacher is not so great. And I saw him a couple weeks ago because I went to his school. This teacher just didn't spark his interest. He wouldn't even look the students in the eye. So when you start thinking about the quality of education, oftentimes, and not a villainization of teachers, but there's a direct relationship between academic success and teaching awareness.
Yes. I
So,
totally agree.
yeah.
I totally agree. And I think there's something also that really stand out, or maybe if you would compare our different learning methods earlier and now, is the rapport that teachers now are building with their students and previously. Like previously, teachers were like a no-go zone. You can't like get close to a teacher, or if you see them coming to the direction you're headed, you have to turn because they'll spark something or you'll be in trouble, and no one wants to be in trouble, yeah? So which created a bit of like animosity between the learners, or just a gap. There was a learning gap. But now bringing the children closer is kind of closing that gap because they feel like they are friends or you're friendly to them. And it's somewhere I read that kids don't learn from people they don't like, yeah?
Yeah.
So if you bring them closer, they are almost like, this is my friend. I can listen to them. Even it makes the discipline part also very easier for the teacher because kids are like, I don't want to let my friend down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it makes it easy. And I think, not to be the host, but I just want to ask Gabe, do you feel like if you were treated differently or if you had a different experience learning, do you feel like your life would be different?
Yeah, I would say definitely, especially in the academia side. Because as I mentioned before the podcast began when we were just chatting, after high school, I was very disinterested in books or academia.
Yeah.
The moment, I remember the day I finished my exams. I remember it was a geography paper. It ended at 2:00. I was out of the school by 2:05.
205.
2:05. It took me 5 minutes
Did you just
To
leave
move from.
with-
Yeah, I left.
Just walked out.
Bolted.
Everything was at the
Yeah.
gate already. Because
Oh,
my mom and dad wanted the box back. I don't know why. We never used it. But I left everything on the table, the calculator, the set, everything. I just arranged it on the table, waited for the bell. 5 minutes later, I was at the gate and I was out.
You were so done.
Was
Yeah,
it
I was
that
done.
bad?
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, that's in high school. I was happier when I finished primary school. Because for me, primary school was worse. Because it was.
Yeah.
You're having a difficult time finding the words.
Like I enjoy. Okay, the last school I was at, I wasn't pro what they were doing, and I guess that's where I started developing this. Started thinking this way, because I was from another school. Yeah, they had the pass marks and the whatever and the whatevers, but now when you come here and you see how they follow it like it's law,
Yeah.
and you're like, because I remember there was a mean score. We used to get, what do you call it? Let me just say chastised, for lack of a better word, for the mean score of the class.
Or like all of you
Yeah,
collectively.
for the mean score. Yeah, so I'm like, I've done my part.
Yeah.
I've gotten my marks.
Why am I being punished?
I've gotten my marks,
Why am I
yeah.
being punished for
And then
someone else?
now,
Above the pass mark.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So we are like, so we want a mean score of 350 for the entire class. Some people will get more than 350, others will get less than 350.
Yeah.
If more people get less than 350, it's pretty obvious the mean score will be down. So I'm just there developing anxiety over something I can't change that
Yeah,
has
you have
been
no
put
control
on
over
me and on us as a class. And there's nothing I can do to help him. I don't know what stage you're in when you're doing the exams. I can be an A student. I witnessed something on my way to school. I'm so shaken.
Yes.
I come and fail. Does that mean I haven't been paying attention for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Or you're not smart.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not to play devil's advocate, but I can kind of see where the teachers would come from in terms of the mean score, not the chastising because of that, but in the sense or regard of they just went about it the wrong way, is they want all of you to help each other rise, right? Like if you're an A student, I know there are some schools, and I don't mention it because I don't know if it's a good thing or not, a bad thing, but like the first pass one is put with the very last pass, and like you sit together so that you kind of like help each other come up and help each other read and learn and things like that. And so I think it was a wrong, like they wanted the correct results or they're driving at a particular result just the wrong way.
The wrong way.
And I think now going back to you, Miss Marcy, is, and this is great, is because when you realize maybe something is not working, you know, as human beings, we're like, okay, I have this idea, this will probably work, this is the way.
Yeah.
But do you have moments, even as a teacher or, you know, teaching future leaders, and you're like, this is the way we should go, but then you retract because you see it's not working? Do you have moments where you know, I need to pivot, and how do you know that? And also, how can parents know that for their own children?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll use the same example you used, the one for putting the best with the child who's probably struggling. That works sometimes, but the idea is to not let the kids know that because you had a 90 and you had a 20, you guys will sit together and you will help each other get probably an 80. So the idea is the child should not feel less of who they are. So you probably tell them, do you feel like this is an area? And you want them to identify. So the thing we are doing now is letting kids own their growth, own the journey themselves. So you'll want them to identify different areas they're struggling in. Even the one who had a 90, they didn't have 100. So there's an area they're struggling in. So they will all identify areas they're struggling in. And then, do you feel like this friend would support you in this area? Yeah. So I'm struggling with algebra or something else. They are good at that. We can sit together and share. But not from the point of, you had a 20, this one had a 90, so this one is better off. It doesn't work like that. And of course, there are points, there are things we've seen. So what normally happens, it's not something that you know, because you don't have a manual, right? So it happens real life during the class. So there are things you'd observe, or you'd also get feedback from the kids. Yeah. Sometimes the pass mark thing, there was a time I think I was also tempted. And that's because during an assessment, kids really did well. And I was like, I think maybe we should all probably get 80s.
Yeah.
And the kids themselves were like, but I think that's unrealistic, because if I'm coming from a 40, how will I get an 80 then? Or do you think maybe I could get a 60? And now there you can work with the kids and be like, okay, so you had a 40, now you're going to have a 60 moving as we move forward.
Yeah.
So for parents, I would also maybe just urge them to warm up to the kids.
Okay.
Warm up to the kids. Let the kids tell you what is working for them and what's not working for them. Of course, having put boundaries, because they can also take advantage of their rapport, Yeah. So it can get really messy. But of course, with boundaries, but let the child have a voice. Let them speak. Let them voice out what they are feeling. Do you think that this is working? If it's not working, why do you think this is not working? And that way, both of you are like looking towards the same goal. Something else is also to let the child, as they own the journey, let them also know what do they want, what do you as a parent want them to achieve? So that at the end of it, as you reflect together, they are also wondering, so you wanted me to be more confident. Am I more confident? What should I do to become more confident? So that they are also not feeling like you're putting pressure on them, or you want this so bad for them. Why do you want me to sit at the front? Why do you want me to raise my hand every time? What's the goal? That way, they know what is ahead. They know they have the end in mind. They know I want to become more confident, because when I'm more confident, I can speak out my mind. I can say what I want. That way, I will not be humiliated, or I can stand up for myself in spaces, So that way, the child is also part of the process. They're not feeling like you're imposing stuff on them and they have to do this.
Can I ask this? So you talked about the kids having a voice,
Yes.
and that's incredibly important. And talking to their parents is incredibly important. But the part that I will also include is the parents have to be ready to listen.
Yes.
Because oftentimes kids will talk to parents who it's a deaf ear. I'm listening to what you're saying, but it's not actually, going into my head. I'm not processing it.
Yeah.
So I think that some of the things you talked about earlier, the awareness of children as real people with real opinions and real, needs
Yes.
goes beyond the relationship between mom or dad and their role as the child.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll say earlier, we were having a conversation and I asked, well, Gabe brought something up and I said, well, how would you teach him? And you turned around and said, tell me more about the way you were feeling. And it was like a therapist more than a teacher. And so that's an interest in someone's well-being as opposed to I'm just trying to get something into your head.
Yes.
And I think that's really important distinction, teaching from a place of not just being, I'm going to be your friend. I care about how you feel. How many kids actually get somebody who cares about how they feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that sparked anything in you.
Yeah, for sure. And that reminded me of what Gabe said about you probably get into a school setup and you had a very rough morning. So this is something that the teacher should be able to identify, right? So what we do is before we even start, because it's not all about the learning. Yeah, we will learn and become smart, but we also have to connect. So every time before we learn, we have some time where we almost reflect. And when we sit down with the kids, we sit in a circle and everyone will share how their day was, how their morning was, how are they feeling towards the day, what are they looking forward to. And that's the moment you will pick anything that is off. You will see maybe there's a child who's feeling, maybe they're not themselves today. Maybe they're always the energetic one, the one who wants to speak and just give you a big hug when they come in. But today it's not that way. So before I start teaching them 1 + 1, they don't even care at that point what 1 + 1 is. Because they left something happened maybe in the morning. Maybe they were scolded, So that's the point where you want to bring that up and then so that you can move forward. And that way they also feel like, oh, wow. So this is just not my teacher. They also want to know how I am, how I'm feeling. And that way they will also warm up to the learning process because they see that you care. So I really love that.
Yeah.
Is this theory or is this actually how you start your classes?
That's,
you do?
Yeah.
Oh
We
my
call them morning
goodness.
meetings, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to you, Gabe, because I think part of this, yes, you've aired some frustration with your past, but that didn't keep you from continually learning.
Yeah.
And that's where I think sometimes what you said about creating a future leader, leaders don't just get taught how to lead and now they can go lead other people.
Yeah.
Actually, compassion is one of the places you lead
Yes.
from.
Yeah.
Understanding,
Yeah.
and this is something you've given to yourself, it seems, because you didn't get that anywhere else. So, you want to talk a little bit about your journey there?
Yeah, sure. So, well, for me to be in this position, first and foremost, I'll have to give a lot of credit to my parents, both my parents, my mom and my dad. I would say everyone in our household. I come from a household of 6 kids over there, 4 guys, 2 girls. We were always raised with, I would say, like common sense is the rule, will always be the rule of the day. So both parents really instilled, I don't know if it's a feeling or just make sure what you're doing makes sense. Ask yourself question like, I'm doing this. Why am I doing this?
Does it make sense?
Does
to
it make
you?
sense? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Not
don't
just does
just
it make sense,
do
yeah.
things because other people are doing them. Like, figure out what you want and kind of work towards it. Their methodology varied with both parents, but ultimately I
The
got
goal
to
was
be
the
this,
same.
so it worked. But I would say one thing that helped was there was a parental support. As much as they wouldn't ask a lot of all the time, they would be like, "How was school? How are things going on in school?" And these are not just education wise. Like, are you being bullied? Is everything okay? Is the dorm okay? Is it clean? All that stuff. Like, they were concerned with more than just the reading part of it. And another bit I've just remembered, they really cared about the schools I was in. I remember when we moved from Kericho to Nyahururu, I was out of school for 1 month because my dad was going to different schools and trying to figure out which one would be the best fit for me. So I was an athlete growing up, or rather I liked sprinting, 100 meters. So they knew whatever school I was going to needed to have a big field. Right off the bat, before they even got to the academic stuff, it needs to have a good field. There needs to be something with sports because he likes running. Let him continue running. And then now they got to the academic bit. How does this school perform? How is the school? How does it look? Where is it? What's the environment? So in a way, not in a way, but they were actually doing a lot to make sure where I was learning was ideal for me, and not just me, but all of us growing up. So that helped. And I guess that's also made me start like, as much as the teachers know everything, I wouldn't question their teacher, but I'd ask questions. Like, you've said this is the formula for solving this problem. Yeah. But I got the same answer using a different formula. I wouldn't be like, oh, well, because it's just said this is what to do, go do it. I'd be confident enough to ask the teacher and be like, okay, does this also work? Sometimes they were agreeable. Other times they'll be like, just stick to what I said. But from a very early age, I'd say I had that go figure stuff on your own. And I didn't need academics or the academic fuel or fire to do that. Even just generally, if it's watching DSTV, I'm watching National Geographic, Discovery Channel, Nat Geo Wild. I was always curious, and they kind of fed that curiosity. Anytime there's a show on TV with animals, my dad can switch off the news and let me watch that bit. So that helped. And the other bit, I'm kind of diverting here, but on what she said about support as a teacher to the students, I feel there is a bias towards smart kids. In Kenya, I would argue, smart kids tend to get more help from teachers than those who are struggling academically, because the smart kids are already a top student. I had, in every school I've been to since, apart from high school, I've had a pretty good relationship with a teacher who was friendly with me because he knew I was good at this subject or I was just smart. So if it's writing a composition that will be aired in public, they'd go to me, or just the other smart kids. So I figured out people who are actually very smart were the ones who are actually getting help from the teachers, as opposed to those who are actually struggling.
How does that make you feel?
Very sad, but I'm glad that the narrative is changing because, again, when we come to the differentiated learning bit, in this part, you want to cater for every child's needs.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure everyone is feeling seen, everyone is feeling heard. And I think what now we are doing is now almost, let me use decentering for lack of a better word, but decentering the smart kids.
Yeah.
Just okay, well, you can do whatever it is that we are doing, but what else can you do? So you will let them explore whatever it is that they can do. In a classroom setup, you would let them, like, let's say we are writing, maybe today's goal is to write 5 sentences, for instance.
Yep.
But there's a child who has already done that within 5 minutes. So we let them explore what else they can do. They can write a story from the 5 sentences. As they do that, because they're already capable, I will be focusing on the child who's unable to probably even spell 10 words, So I feel like now the narrative is changing, which is also working for this other child. And sometimes even these other kids would feel in the current setup like you're probably just leaving them. But you'd let them know again, well, you can already do this. How about you push yourself? So the idea is being 1% better. 1% better basically means we are all not going to be at 50. So if I was at 40 today, tomorrow I'm going to be at 41. I don't want 100. Tomorrow I'll be at 41. If you are at 90, tomorrow you'll be at 91. So is your 90, if you're at 90, you can do 10 sentences now. Definitely your 91 is not to do 11 sentences. You'll do a story. But if I'm at 40 and I need to be at 41, then I won't be feeling like the teacher is biased.
I truly relate with the 1% every day. It's actually part of my mottos. One of my mottos, Kaizen. I like
It's nice.
1%
It
improvement
makes
every day.
life feel better, less competitive,
Yes.
and like
It's
you are your
achievable.
own.
You're competing against yourself.
yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's good that even, I don't think we get everything wrong. We just go improving. But in the system or in even structured schooling there's the reward that we used to get for most improved. You don't have to be number one,
Yes.
but just because of the
effort.
the strides you made to get better.
Yeah.
And as you are talking, I was so curious in terms of, do teachers, so moving from one class to another, right? It can be disruptive to move from one teacher that you absolutely love to a teacher that you absolutely hate, or you're just like, they don't seem to care. And so one is amongst teachers yourselves. Do you, like, especially if it's within the same school, someone is moving from like grade 1 to grade 2, for example, right? Do you give a history of all the children and their performances so that when the next one is picking up, it's not starting from fresh? You're just building on the foundation that has already been set.
Yes. I like that question. I see you are triggered. So yes, we do. And the thing is, we actually sit with the parent as well. The parent who has been in this child's journey. So if I'm the teacher, maybe this is year 3 and this child is transitioning to year 4. The teacher who will receive this child in year 4, I will give them notes before that. And we will sit down with the parent whereby they will be getting, this is where we came from in year 3. This is where we are at. These are the things we were struggling with. This is where we improved. And therefore, what would be the next action step? Maybe this is where I had reached with this particular learner. And so this is what you need to do. That way, the parent also knows, I've filled in this teacher. If there's anything the parent would want the teacher to know about their child, maybe they learn in a different way, or maybe there are things to look out for, the parent can now say that to the teacher. So that moving forward, no one is coming back to me.
Yeah.
The parent is not feeling like there's a gap. I'm not connecting with teacher B because teacher A was super nice, So the parent is also coming from a point of, okay, so we are done. Thank you. That was really nice. Yeah. But now we are transitioning. We've now moved with this teacher, which is really nice and also warms up. The child is also able to warm up to this teacher. The transitions can also be very hard for the child.
Yeah.
So we do have sessions where, especially at the end of the year, whereby we just let them know how things are and how they should embrace all these emotions they are feeling. So first, we just let them know that it's okay. Whatever you're feeling is okay. It's valid. This is your teacher. You had warmed up to them and you're meeting this other new teacher and that's okay. So just give yourself time and warm up to this teacher. So yeah.
That has just created a mindset
It's
shift
funny.
for me.
So, okay, last week I went to my last born's high school. It was bring your parent to work day. or bring your parent to school day. So I sat through all of his classes. I got to meet all his teachers. I got to see the classes he's doing best in and the class he's doing worst in. I got to see his favorite teacher and his least favorite teacher. Okay, so his favorite teacher was actually his hardest teacher.
Okay.
It wasn't the difficulty of the class or the strictness of the person. It was that he showed up and was actually trying to teach. And when I was there, and he has a 2-hour period with this guy. So as I saw him teach, when I was leaving, I said, now I understand why you're his favorite teacher, because you actually show up for every class.
Wow.
Okay, so his least favorite class was actually his best subject last year, and it was English. And his teacher this year, hopefully you're not watching it, but his teacher this year was less interested in teaching the class and more interested in just getting through the hour. He was just waiting for, I can talk about this, and this is the thing we read, and I'll read it to you. And it was it was so disinteresting. And honestly, it's his worst grade on his report card. And now my context, if I was a parent who just looked at the grades, I would have said, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
Right? Not, I understand.
Yeah.
And so I think the part of this that we get disconnected from is when we look at just the grade and we don't spend time in the context of the student, whether it's in the class or speaking to the teachers, and not just at parent-teacher conferences, because that's all, made up stuff. Oh, your kid's doing great. We love him. If I hear that again, I'm gonna freak out. So realistically, I think, how do parents really show up for their kids in the same way that teachers like you, it sounds like, show up for their kids, so that holistically our learners don't suffer the kinds of things that Gabe, I'm sure you're not the only person.
Yeah, he's speaking for many, for
situation.
sure. It's the little things. And first of all, if you notice a change in the child's behavior, whether it's one day, don't let it pile up. If you notice something that's different, you step in the next morning during drop-off. Speak to the teacher. I've noticed AB, most of the time, there would be underlying issues. Maybe this child is being bullied and he doesn't want to speak up, but there's always something that's happening. So if you notice something different, please reach out to the teacher. Something else, the little things like homework or projects that they need to do and submit. Don't just let the child just do it. Just be part of it. You just question it as they do. So why are you doing this? What is this all about? That way, you're also involved. If there's a challenge, maybe they're not understanding something, or maybe they're detaching from the teacher, or something is happening, there's a gap, you'll be able to spot it real quick, because, we learn every day, right? And it's like lifelong. So even at home, let the child tell you if there's anything that is happening. If you notice it, question it. If there are activities in school, encourage your child to plug in. If there are sports, he's an athlete, right?
Yeah.
The parents clearly really wanted to water that seed, which is really commendable. I love that. So if there's any activity that's happening, plug in. If there's a sports day and they want they're asking for parents to volunteer and be part of it, why not if you're available? That way, you will be able to also connect. That's also the time where you probably see some gaps. Because again, PTCs, parent-teacher conferences, they're also very, this is like the day the parents are coming. So of course we'll be at our best, But those are the other days where you will spot gaps, or maybe you will see the raw stuff. And maybe stuff, if there's anything that needs questioning, that's the time to bring it up. So I hope I answered your question.
No, you did. I think here's the part that I think many parents often, including myself, it took me a while to learn it, 3 kids in, teachers don't just teach the subject. They teach you how to learn.
Yes.
And that's the thing that I think, and Gabe, one of the things that we're going to talk about, I hope, is how you're learning outside of school. Because I think the capability to learn, and you said it, it's a lifelong opportunity.
Yeah.
And if you ignore the fact that you learn every day, then you won't learn every day, and you won't be the best person you can possibly be as you grow up.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about learning outside of school?
Yeah, sure. based on my perspective, of course, or experiences. So, well, for me, I'd say, there's some sort of unfair advantage in that I'm the sixth child out of five, out of six.
Baby.
The last one.
Yeah, the last. So before me, there were 5 other people that I was observing. So I kind of had a rough cut of what to do.
They were modeling the behavior.
Yeah, in a sense, because there's something I picked up from each of my siblings.
Yeah.
So there was that. But on top of that, I would say just feeding my curiosity. My parents were really good at that. I didn't notice back then, obviously.
Wait. What did your mom do again?
Feeding my curiosity.
No, I mean, but
The storybooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything that I had an interest in, it would somehow just find its way into my life. I liked cars. I always wanted to be a car designer growing up.
Okay.
I don't know how we ended up with the Top Gear magazines in the house, but they were always there.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. I liked reading books.
Yeah.
There was never a scarcity of books in the house.
Yeah.
All types, even just newspapers. There was a corner with 1 million newspapers just sitting over there. So they were indirectly giving me what we call it, various resources that I would use to kind of feed and develop my own curiosity on top of, the support I'd have from my brothers and sisters. And then I remember being asked a whole lot of times what I'd want to be as an adult, and it wouldn't just end there. They will be like, okay, if you want to do this, you'll need this, this, and this, this, and this. And it wasn't just school stuff. They'd be like, you need to be okay speaking in front of people. You need to be confident to do this. You need to, the little things. So it wasn't just, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a car designer. Okay, cool. Work hard. Get your A's and everything will be okay. Yeah.
All around.
Yeah, exactly. So they did the little bits of things that they didn't need to be honest. They had to have, from how I see it, it was intentional on their end. It's like leaving breadcrumbs for me to follow. And that way, I was able to develop not just academically, but with other things outside academics. Because you're able to be like, okay, books are cool, but that's more exam-based development. What are you figuring out here? Are you out here playing with your toys? Well, my parents bought me that toy. Can I make a toy with a box of milk and some matchsticks and some, And back then, I would say I wasn't just the only one. We were outside way more back then. So also interacting with other kids my age out there, playing. You figure out a lot of things through play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was also another big factor in my early years. I also had the freedom to play and to play with other kids. So that was very helpful for me.
I know you've spoken about primary and you've spoken about high school.
Yeah.
Did you go to campus?
Yeah. I was in campus.
Was the learning experience different?
I would like to
lecturers,
So
body language.
The thing with campus, and here's where I'd say high school and primary school kind of shaped how my campus experience was. Because what I would say, for sure, campus was the easiest in terms of what you're supposed to learn. Like that content it wasn't that big compared to high school and primary school. And the fact that you rarely got, as a fourth year student, they wouldn't ask you first year stuff. They'll ask you fourth year stuff.
Yeah.
So based on...
Unless you're a doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
Do all the
Unless you're a
6
doctor,
years.
yeah. So if I compare that to my primary and high school, I'm like, campus was supposed to be the easiest. But it wasn't, because by then I had already branched off the academia path.
Oh, okay.
I was there to get the degree
And get
out. I wasn't there to get information. I wasn't there to learn. Like, I was just there to get the degree and get out. So it's a matter of, in campus it was, and the end justifies the means. The problem with campus is they are very dubious means. And
There will always be means.
Now everyone's curious as to what those dubious means might look like.
I wouldn't be the one to tell you that.
They are the unspoken ones.
Yeah, I wouldn't be the one to tell you that. But what happened in campus was, but then I was already kind of, I wouldn't say fed up with the system. Because I was like, I don't know if I'd mentioned that there was a point where I was printing, we call it the mark list. It has everyone from number 1, the last person. Because in my high school, in normal situations, an A starts at 80, A minus 75, yada yada. A4 started at 85. A 85, A minus 80, B plus 75. So just by that, what normally would give you an A, out here is giving you an A minus.
Yeah.
So if your parent knows you as an A student, you're like, yeah, but my average is 80. But the result slip is saying A minus. In your head, you know A minus is 75, moving downwards. So there's that disconnect. And if I try to tell you A's are from 85, it's like you don't believe me.
Yeah.
And there's even the mean score there to show you.
Yeah.
So I started going home with the mark list so that, okay, this is my results.
Position.
This is where I am on the mark list.
Yeah.
Kindly let me breathe.
Let me breathe.
Yeah.
Kindly let me breathe for these 2 weeks I'm at home before I go back, because I'm like, I don't want, I've been in school for the past 3 months, not 3 months, 3.5 months. Back then we had mandatory tuition for 2 weeks. Thank God the government said that's a no-no. So I've been in school for 3.5 months. I've gotten that. It may not be what you want, but I'm not exactly underperforming. I'm actually performing. The teachers will be like, he's okay.
Yeah.
It's you and your perception where you're like, you think I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So it's a point where I have to come with the evidence that I'm actually
putting in the work.
putting in the work.
But let me also, Marcy,
Yeah.
he learned how to create a business case, learned how to create a case to support himself.
Yeah.
Where did you learn that?
Yeah, to be honest,
You don't know.
Self-taught?
Survival for the fittest.
But maybe school had some contribution.
yeah,
to
it did.
you.
Yeah. School had
Definitely.
it had a big contribution. My only issue was I reached a point when I would say, maybe don't take my word for it, I was too smart for myself.
Yeah.
And I realized teachers want results. Teachers want pass marks.
Yeah.
Teachers want mean scores. Parents want results. Nobody cares if I'm actually understanding anything in school.
Yeah.
Nobody cares if I'm comfortable in school. Nobody cares if what they're teaching me will
Is
be
helping you.
helpful outside school. So I'll give people what they want. I'll give the teacher their mean scores. I'll give parents their results. But mentally, I'm out. Yes, I'm passing exams.
Yes,
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
I'll cram all I need to cram
Yeah.
to pass those exams. But if you ask me what I've learned the entire term,
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I have boatloads of crammed data. I can't apply anything.
Yeah.
It's physics. I can answer the question. I can't apply that knowledge anywhere.
You learned how to cram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that's what happened eventually, and I was like,
Which is a
okay.
good skill,
At the end of the day,
Is it?
because
Application is more important
Yeah.
than knowing how to apply
Yes.
it.
Yes.
and for me, I actually learned through application.
Yeah.
That's why I would say I did both geography and history. And over time, history became harder and geography became easier. Because I realized for geography, it's more application. As long as you understand
Yeah.
how the Rift Valley was formed, explain it with your own words.
Yeah.
History, I need to quote the Constitution.
Yeah.
You need to remember the dates.
Yeah, you need to know the
Yes,
dates.
for
You
sure.
need to know
So,
the names.
yeah, that's why the more, and it's kind of hilarious, the more history became government, the more I hated it. Because I enjoyed the history.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy the government
Yeah.
Right.
part of it. So the more government came into play, the worse.
This is not an anti-government.
No, it's not. I'm talking
Just
about
for
the
the
subject.
record.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
So the more the teaching became more,
Yeah.
the more it's changed. And then, because the interest is not there. I'm just there. It's like a objective list. Be here for three months. Make sure you have enough results to not be in trouble with the teacher,
Yeah.
with the school, because the school has I think if you had that D going down, you had to remain for remedials.
Yeah.
Which that I kind of don't have a problem with. What I had a problem with is mandatory tuition for everyone.
Yeah. Oh, and you're an A student.
Yeah,
or at
yeah,
least you're a high
exactly.
performer.
Like
Yeah.
you're a high performer and you're being forced to go for tuition.
Yeah.
Why? That's just a business, but
Yeah.
I digress. So I think I might have.
Yeah, and
So Marcy, what
yeah,
do you do?
I feel like the disconnect. What did you do in campus?
No, I did a Bachelor of Commerce, majored in accounting.
Is that what you wanted to do?
No.
Yeah, that's where the disconnect
Yeah.
came from, because now you're doing something for someone else. This is not something that you really want to do,
Yeah.
and nobody really asked you. So what do you want to do? And then they would now guide you in that specific pathway. Another, I think, disconnect with the teaching, especially in the primary and high school bit, is also maybe knowledge is power, and sometimes teachers also maybe were not informed then of how to go about it. Is to identify the goal so that both of you are moving together, so that we know what's the end goal. Why are you coming here to do multiplication? What's the end goal? That way, you're not just reading to give me marks.
Yep.
You know
Yeah.
what I expect of you. If I'm teaching English and by the end of this term, I want you to be articulate, or I want you to read faster, I want you to be fluent, you will not read the book to please me because you already know what I expect from you. And at the end of the term, or whatever timeline it is, we will sit down and reflect, and I will ask you, so do you feel like this has helped you? Do you feel like you're more articulate? Do you feel like you know more new words or something like that? Are you able to apply these words in real life or something like that? So I think that is where the gap came from. And it's nice that we identify these things and just move from a point of information, so that the child is not feeling pressured to read 2 storybooks every day without knowing why they are reading. Yeah.
There's a piece of this that I'm observing also, which is context. So if we started with Gabe wants to become a car designer, you're going to need to know physics and math because you have to calculate the aerodynamics of a vehicle you're going to design. And that's part of the process. It's going to change the context of why you need to know that math or that physics.
Sure.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's fun.
Yeah.
Because it's getting me towards something that I really want.
Yes.
Not,
It's making sense.
not just get an A on
Get
a
an
physics
yeah,
quiz.
Yes.
physics on maths on.
Yes.
Yep. Because I don't know if it's just me, but even when we were picking subjects, for us we picked it very, very early, and our parents weren't involved because we picked our subjects at the end of Form 1. Normally it happens at Form 3.
Yeah.
And people would just be like, if you want to be a doctor, you need to get an A in biology. If you want to be this, you need to get an A in. Nobody said you need to be well versed in.
Yes.
Right.
You need to understand
you need to cram and get
biology.
an A. We don't care how you get
So
an A.
just like you have to be a
get the
doctor,
A.
you need an A. So in your mind, it's just, okay, this is the objective.
Yes.
Get an A in biology. What are the subjects? Maths, English, Swahili, biology, chemistry. Okay, I'll get an A in those. Not I'll understand those or I'll focus a lot of my effort in learning more for the subject. So I think that's kind of the first place the disconnect appears. People look at, or rather, they think about the results instead of the process.
Yes. Yes.
Well, also, what are the characteristics of a good doctor? Because just family experience, my wife's cousin is one of the top cardiologists in the U.S. He was a B student in university, and he still became an incredible heart doctor. And why is that? Not only is he capable, but he also has an amazing bedside manner, and people like him. And he has explored the relationship between the health of a human being and how they're feeling and how they're communicating. And so his ability to navigate that situation is uncanny. And it isn't something you get because you got an A. It's something you get because you have the talent. You've exploited it or explored it.
Yeah. I think the silent, I'd call them silent cues, or the silent things or the intangibles that people or students learn as we go along the way, even including soft skills, are not something that we're necessarily taught.
Yes.
But we learn them from interacting with peers.
And
We learn-
teachers.
And exactly. And teachers and parents and, other people's parents, right? And it's not things that we necessarily learn. And I don't think there's a way we can put that in a book and teach it. It's the same way these days we're taught public speaking, for example, but in learning, the way to do that is expose them. Like, I think it's either before we started or while we're doing this, you talked about growing your confidence, right? And it's because you're an introvert, but it's because you were a head boy. You were in positions where you had to stand before people. And it really drew you out, right? So I think it's also for teachers getting to that point where you understand, what do I do beyond the inside the classroom that helps you come out of your shell and grow and hone some of these abilities that are not necessarily just the maths, English, and Swahili.
Yes.
And it as you were talking, it reminded me of back when I was in campus, and when we were also discussing this episode, back when I was in campus, my favorite professor, and one of the few I remember, he was called Professor Buisa. In all his classes, in all his units, we never did one exam. We only had projects.
Wow.
So like in our entrepreneurship unit, you had to create a business plan. You had to create an actual business and come and present it. And then in the next class, and I don't remember what the unit was called, but we had to go, as in Jquat Juja, we had to go around the area and look for a business, discover a problem and solve that problem. And I was just like, this was the first time I was ever being taught like this. And I was like, I'm still learning. You're not grading me on, pass or fail, but I come and, okay, you'll grade me, yes, but it's based off of, this is the business I went to. This is what I learned. This is the problem that I have. And this is the solution I give them. And, it teaches you creative problem solving, right?
Yeah.
And so these are transferable skills that when you walk and enter into the world, it's not just I crammed for it. It's I was actually given skills that I can apply in businesses. And I do believe I apply even in the workplace.
Yeah.
But now I'm wondering, that's in campus, and it may be a bit too late, but it wasn't. But then how can we start that from even at the primary level or even at the high school level? I believe that's something that you would have loved to see and could have been beneficial, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know if it's something that can happen.
It can.
There's something some schools do, but this is more along the community service route. I know Strathmore do it. We tried in our high school, or rather the school tried, nobody did it. Because during the holidays, sure, there's the holiday assignment that I also have beef with, but I digress. But there was a community service assignment bit. There was a sheet of paper that gave us a checklist, and they would be like, okay, so did you help the chief? Did you help the hospital? Like, write down what community service you've done during the holidays. And it was in a push to have us like kind of be active in our communities, like do things that help people. So one thing I used to notice was for the Strathmore guys, back then we lived in Buruburu. So the Strathmore guys used to come to the library, Kenya National Library in Buruburu, and they'd help in arranging the books. They'll just help around, and that would go to that bit. So it could be anything. It could be collecting litter. It could be organizing the guys over there to do something. It could be anything. But the problem was, I would say they weren't serious with it because they didn't follow up. And we, the students, were just like, we are here to get our A's and B's. I am not going to do community service.
Check that box.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was the problem. We saw it as just another checklist to do. Because even some people would fake it. They'll be like, I know a doctor somewhere, I can just tell that doctor to write some stuff. Like, it wasn't, we weren't seeing what the school wanted us to do. We were just seeing the checklist.
It wasn't self-driven.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. All right. So for the kids, or rather now from where I stand, because I'm working with very young kids, it starts from a point of teaching them the basic skills, the problem-solving skills, and just being solution-oriented. So this is something we have. So we have a culture principle, and we talk about solutions first. That's how we say it. And what happens is, kids are kids, right? So maybe somebody calls you a word. Let's just say like maybe a random thing like a cow, right? So as a child, their first their response will be to probably cry or shout at this person and tell them, but I'm not a cow, or something like that. Or just cry and say, I'm going to tell on you.
Yeah.
So what we do is now we move backwards. Let's fix this issue.
Yeah.
How should you have responded? Because now we are not teaching them to just say sorry and walk away. We are teaching them to stand up for themselves because the world is changing, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be the person who's people are stepping on you, and every time they say sorry, you're okay. How many people will step on you, right? So we are teaching them to stand up for themselves. So what happens in that point is, what would be the solution? Will crying solve anything? So first you identify, okay, you've cried. Has it helped the situation? All right, no. So what could you do? And then they'll be like, oh, maybe I could tell them that I'm not a cow. Exactly. You stand up for yourself. Just ask them, why do you think it was okay to call me that? And this other child will be like, okay, I didn't mean to, my bad, or something like that. But next time they wouldn't want to do that because, one, you stood up for yourself.
Yeah.
Two, you also questioned why. Why would you do that? Why would you think that is okay? So that way this child feels they are, what's the word? They are empowered.
Yeah.
They're empowered and they can do it themselves. I don't have to be there to fight the little issues, right? So they are empowered and they know that it can come from them. They can do it by themselves. That way now, when they start tackling other issues, you would find that even, I think there was also a time a child stood up for themselves after teaching them that. These are the things sometimes you regret teaching them because they use it against you.
Miss Marcy.
Yeah. And they had asked for a water break and we had come out from recess. Recess is playtime. And I was checking the time. I was like, my lesson is 5 minutes. 5 minutes are gone. So we need to focus, right? And they wanted to take water. And I told them, you will take water after. They were not okay. They went and sat. Every time they would raise their hand and ask them, is everything okay? They said, I really want to take water. And I told them, could you just wait? And then, so I started trying to reason with them. And I asked them, if you were the teacher and the kids have come from playing 5 minutes late and now they want to take water, what would you do? And this boy told me, if I was the teacher, I think I would know that dehydration is dangerous.
Oh my goodness.
And that alone was like, okay, this is why I'm teaching you what I'm teaching you. You know what? It didn't work for me, but love this for you. Yeah. You're able to stand up for yourself. So you know what? You go get your water. And I really loved that because it really showed me that, one, they can stand up for themselves against even an adult. They will question. I will not tell you, go this way. And they will go blindly without questioning why. So that way, even as they grow up, they come and face other challenges. They will be able to first be solution-oriented. They know it has to come from me. What should I do? What's the first thing I should do? Should I be running around, maybe screaming and acting up? What should I do? So yeah. Yes, that's how we are doing that.
So it's funny. It made me think. So yes, I had therapy. Please forgive me. No, my therapist taught me a skill, which is it's exactly what you're doing with the kids for adults.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is, she says, put up your mitt, which is a baseball term. If somebody says something to you, put up your mitt and catch it and look at it and say, is this true or is it not? And if it's not, throw it away. Yeah. And it doesn't affect you. If it is, accept that it is and think about it and try to figure out what it is about that that's true and how you can react to it. And it slows you down. So in that moment of you're a cow, you don't go, or screw you, I'm not a cow, or, it escalates. It's not a reactive moment.
Yes. Yeah.
It literally teaches you as an adult to say, that's not true. Yeah. Forget about it. Yes. Don't let it bother me. Slough off your back like water off a duck.
Yes.
So I love the skill. And I think the reason I bring up my story was because that works with adults also. It's not just a skill that kids should learn. Yeah. It's a skill that everyone should have.
Learn.
Yeah.
Amazing conversations. Thank you guys so much for being here, sharing your stories.
Are we
wrapping up? Yeah, I'm like, what's happening?
Well, we just got started. We're having such a nice conversation.
We'll call them back for another episode, part two. Part two. But thank you so much for sharing your stories. I don't know if you have any parting shots that you do have for people. This will be to teachers, to parents, to fellow teachers, because not everyone takes your approach. Yeah. To parents, And I mean, a lot of kids watch our show, so you can also advise the kids maybe.
yeah.
And for Gabe as well, and to anyone you feel like your experience, nothing against the system, but your experience can help.
If anything, I have a lot of good things for the system, regardless of its flaws.
Yeah.
I'm here now in this capacity, and the school system is a very big part of it. All the schools are the teachers, so regardless of the cons and the pros, it is predominantly positive.
Yeah.
I would say it just needs some smoothening bit, but that's more from an individual
And
perspective.
Marcy's working on that.
Yeah, and we already have
Yes.
people over here
Yes.
who
Sounds
are
like she's doing
working on that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What I would say is for all the teachers, just keep on doing the good work you're doing out here. You are very needed. I would say you are one of the most important people in society. You're one of the most important careers in society. No one in this room would be here without, everyone in this room has had a teacher in their lives.
Yeah.
And not necessarily professional teacher. Everyone is a teacher.
Formal and informal.
In any capacity. So keep on doing your jobs, keep on doing that work. You have my support. I may appear.
She's right here.
Yeah.
Marcy,
tell her.
Marcy,
I'm
tell
doing
me.
that
You
work.
have
I
to
mean,
tell
Marcy,
me.
keep doing that work.
Yeah,
I may look mean and yada, but I really love what you're doing, and I really support it. For all the kids watching, I'll just tell you something that, well, you may or may not have realized yet. It's a hack, really, but group discussions are a life hack. They turn from group discussions to brainstorms to you will be in a group out here in one way or another.
Yeah.
So school is a very good place to start learning about group dynamics and just working as a unit as opposed to working as an individual, because exams are individual. I mean, you're literally spaced out to make sure you don't come together to collude here.
Yeah.
But problems solved through groups tend to really leave you with a lot of knowledge or exposure or something. So work as a group out here. Your friends are very important. Have real friends. Don't have fake friends around you. Be with people with the same interest. And just as if I mentioned here, strive to learn something new every day. It may not be from a school book perspective, but just something new. It really goes a long way. And by the time you reach the career side of things, where you will have to learn something new every day, probably, in order to succeed, it'll be second nature. So start now.
Thank
I
you.
love
it.
Mercy.
I love it. I'll just pick it up from the 1% better for everyone, for the child, for the teacher, for the parent as well. 1% better. Just work on the you were yesterday to be better today. For the learners who are watching or the kids who are watching, a positive mindset, always. Just have a positive mindset. You can do anything you put your mind to, right? So just remember that. And for the teachers, please serve the learners. Don't worry about the institution. It can be crappy. It can be all of that. But if you have the learners in mind, you will, even the exhaustion goes away. So just have the learners in mind, serve the learners. And for the parents, support the teachers. Yes, that's what I would say. And also support your child. Let them, whatever they're saying, like you said, when they say it, please listen. Don't just hear. Listen to whatever they're saying and act on it. Yeah, and also please follow me. I also teach kids online. I teach kids Swahili. You can follow my YouTube. Can I plug it?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So it's at Jifunze Kiswahili na Bimasi on YouTube. We learn a lot of Swahili there, and also the Teachers Launch podcast. This is where we empower teachers on how to deal with situations qua ground, basically. Yeah, so how to deal with the learners. You can also subscribe and be part of that community. Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I can't believe we're wrapping up.
Yay.
Thank you, Bimasi.
Yeah,
You can
so
go learn
happy.
Swahili.
Yeah.
No. But only because when I leave, there's no one to speak it to. So anyway, it's harder to retain.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming. And great conversation.
Great.
And I actually have one parting shot.
Yeah. I was
Teach.
actually to tell you, in the spirit of learning, what have you learned?
Oh, well, I learned a long time ago, not in my professional career, teach, model, apply. So
Wow.
you teach someone, that's first step,
Yep.
not the whole thing. Model the behavior, which is a lot of what you've talked about, and then give the kids a chance to apply it. Teach, model, apply.
Love
If you
it.
just do that,
Love it.
Teach, model,
Apply.
apply.
Yeah,
Lovely.
exactly.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
we really
you.
appreciate the conversations, the knowledge, the opinions.
Yeah.
And may we continue improving 1% every day.
Yes.
For all of
1%.
us.
Yes,
For all of us,
Let's
for
yeah.
seek
sure.
our own advice. Right? So,
Yes.
yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so
Cheers.
much.
It's been a blast.
All right.